Hey guys, thanks for joining me again for another episode of Let's Play Super Meat World. This is going to be either a 2 or a 3-part series, depending. I'm not sure which yet, but we're doing my 3 chapters in progressive order. And last time we took a good hard look at the Lime Key, and now we're going to do the same thing with the Passenger. I would say this would be the one chapter that people seem to appreciate, or at least they told me that they did. Nobody liked the Lime Key. It's fine. So this level, as you can see, is a starship. Took a lot of time. I actually ended up losing this level once to being corrupted. So I rebuilt it, and I made it better than ever. You can see those awesome effects. There's like you can see the light down at the bottom, and the parallaxing stars that are all moving at different speeds. What those stars are, by the way, are just rocks that I made almost microscopically small. This was more like an art project for me. This level was a lot of fun. I put a lot of time into just the way that the decorations and the decals were going. And it sort of sets the stage for what I would like to believe is a chapter that's based on a lot of time taken on art. Because that's what I really did, was I spent the most time working on a combination of the gameplay, trying to make it unique, and also having beautiful art when possible. And I also tried to make specifically paths for people to speedrun through these levels, because I know that's a big thing. And pretty much every level can be speedrun through to some degree, and I went out of my way to make sure that there were alternate paths in some to accommodate people who appreciated that sort of gameplay. The uploaded versions of these levels got a little screwed up. This one, the cutoff line was supposed to be where the edge of what looks like a building is, so that light that's up in the top left corner, that should be coming out of the empty space instead of a brick. So it should look like there's a gap there and light coming out of it. Another thing that was something I paid careful attention to was the color schemes as I progressed through this. I wanted the theme to be heavily based on a spectrum, and as I was designing these, I kept that in mind, and I took screenshots of them on and on. And by the end, you'll notice if you were to screenshot each one of these levels and line them up, you'll see that they follow a complete color spectrum all the way around. So, I don't know, he probably didn't know that. But I was thinking of those little things in between making the levels brutally difficult and annoying. But that's a side note. Yeah, so the other main emphasis, like I said, was that I wanted to make these levels unique. And I wanted to do things that I hadn't seen done yet as often as possible. And I think I pretty much accomplished that. I mean, there were no levels that used platforms as a deterrent like that in the main game that I'm aware of. This one also had the zooming kind of screwed up. It's not supposed to be so zoomed out that you can see the slightly moving what is to be later a lightning bolt. In fact, I'll just demo that out for you. If you stand still for, I believe it's like 8 or 10 seconds, you'll see a clap of lightning. And I spent a long time perfecting that. I varied it a bunch of times from, it used to be a tree that I turned upside down and scaled, and I had trees appearing and disappearing in milliseconds, and that gave the illusion of lightning. And it actually worked pretty well, but I ended up having to redo this level almost entirely, and then I changed my stance on that. You'll also notice, if you look really carefully down at the very bottom, those little girders, they actually have little raindrops falling off of them, so I was trying to make microscopic level details when possible too. This level never shows up very well in video, so I'm hoping that when you actually get around to seeing this, you can actually see these details. Chances are you probably will just see some blurs. But you can see the lightning at least, that's cool. Mute City, the level that screws up everyone's sound when they're trying to record it. This one is pretty simple. Run in the arrow, don't lag. If you get it just right, you get to the end, and you can jump to the finish. I thought one of the best color schemes, if I have to say. I think this one is quite pretty to look at. And it gives you a little kick of speed as you're running through the tunnel. As you can see, there's the speed lines in the center. I'm a pretty big fan of this level as well. This is where I first tried to mess around with anti-gravity elements. And I should say that I think this one worked with pretty good success. Although, I just screwed up. This one also didn't zoom properly with the camera. It's supposed to be cut off over on the left side where the wall meets, all the way down. So yeah, I don't know what's up with this, but like almost every level it seems like there's something wrong with it once it gets uploaded. And I did spend a lot of time like perfecting all of these little details, and then it was kind of frustrating when they didn't come out the way I wanted once they were uploaded. So there's not a ton to be said about this one. The color scheme is kind of cool, I think. It's sort of a play on sort of a neon blacklight kind of look, which is what I ended up going with, something derivative of this for the entirety of Fractal Worlds, which was my third mini chapter. This was a contentious level also. I don't think a lot of people enjoyed this one. The title of it is Shift. And the trick was, you have to run full speed. I timed out all the platforms. As long as you... well... as long as you do it perfectly, it's supposed to make it so you actually just shoot right through the whole level. Like that. Oh, see, I screwed up. Right there, you're supposed to be able to use the back side of that to jet yourself up to the exit. So this is another speedrunner's delight level. Oh, see, I screwed up there. Stopped short on the key. You can time it too, but the timing's a little tough. I wish I could assign it a time signature, but I cannot. There we go. That's what you're supposed to do with that. And then this one right here is a pretty tricky timing situation too, because you have to not get swept into the saw blade. Yep, like that. This level makes me want to drink a tropical drink. Nope. There we go. That'll be it. I'm giving it a 4, even though you guys don't like it. This is the original multipath idea level. The idea being that you can kind of find your own way through it, and if you're going for a high-speed run, you want to stick to the top. Oops. I just decided to jump when I shouldn't have jumped. You don't have to stick to the top, though. There's a medium and an easy level difficulty. I guess I should show that, too. The thing about this is this only kills you if you stand and run into it from the side. I intentionally left that little gap so you could hit them. I was trying to be generous. See? I didn't want that to be a huge impediment because I didn't want the medium one to be super difficult. It should just be medium. So I know that's, it looks like I didn't intend to do it that way, but I did. Yeah, it's a lot tougher to go on the top if you don't run full speed all the way through, because again, I timed this so you can basically zip through it if you just go straight across the whole way and don't miss any of the jumps like I just did. There's very specific little ways that you're supposed to navigate each of these. Like, if you know what spots to jump off of, it becomes much easier. Kinda like this level. It's pretty straightforward. Not much to it. It's really just, you know, basic Meat Boy navigate traps. This saw moves very slowly, but it does move, so if you time it right, you can just shoot right through there. Otherwise, you have to go the long way on the left. I both love and hate this level. I love the art to it. I think I came up with something pretty cool. And another cool thing about this that I've never really talked about is that this is actually based on a drawing I did when I was quite a bit younger. In the drawing there was like this little girl who is psychic and has some kind of like telekinesis power, and she's destroyed a room unintentionally, and there's like this visitor standing behind her staring at her, and the visitor is that dude that is up in the center. So I'm not sure exactly how much that was influenced by the drawing, but after I finished it I went, wow, okay, that makes sense. I guess I did that in my head. So I guess ideally Meat Boy would gain telekinesis and be able to bend all of these keys to his will. And that's not happening right now. And I should mention the reason that this key in the center was added is because of I wouldn't say it's a glitch, but like an unintentional feature of the way that the Meat Boy editor works. The breakable blocks, they won't disintegrate for about 5 seconds after the level starts. Will I make it? Nope. So, what I had to do was make it so this is actually a challenge. Otherwise, the way this... basically, they would have just sat on top of the blocks for 5 seconds, and it would have been really awkward. So I had to put them locked up in little boxes, and then encourage you to go up there and get that key first. Wow, I am failing hard at this. I will agree that this is one of the more difficult levels of the chapter. But I also thought it was one of the more interesting at the same time. Like, the difficulty was worth it in my opinion. There we go. And then you descend this little rocket. Ta-da! The zoom was also off on this level. It was supposed to be cut off on the left and right sides where the texture changes. Help! Hey Ash, what you playing? Inspired level. Just a show I like. No real subtext. And a little bit of a creative challenge having to overcome this pattern, which I thought was reasonably easy and predictable to navigate around, so that should make it fun. Girder theme. I don't know. Just look good to me. Swiper, no swiping. I also thought this was one of my more original levels, that it blocks you off from the keys from both sides and starts you on like an unstoppable chain. And then I had it so at first you would just have the keys immediately plummet into the saws, but I realized that was pretty annoying, and I don't think anyone would like to play that. So I put those little stopgap measures down in the bottom to give you a second and third chance if you screw up. 2 on each side I thought was enough, so if you miss each key once, you're doing well enough. I kinda wish I put something on the center of that saw, though. Now it looks so bare. And yes, you can actually catch all the keys on their first drop and never use any of those blocks. It's possible, I've done it a couple of times. Your timing has to be dead on balls perfect, though. And mine rarely is. Despite my claims to the contrary. You have to be, like, really fast getting around it, too. See, it's like this. If you time it so your shots go pretty much in perfect corollary with the blocks that disappear and reappear, you can make it around it without ever losing a key. Notch. Everybody hates this level. I can't say I blame them, but for the sake of being interesting, I had to do this one. It was just... the idea was too cool not to. And I fully welcome anyone comparing this to the Kid Level 3. Although, when I was designing this, that actually never even entered my mind, not even once, that this was anything like that. So, yeah, I totally see it now. I wish I noticed it then. Although I can't say it would make any difference, it still probably would have come out the same. This level probably got the most in terms of revisions. No, actually that's not true. The cargo probably got the most in terms of revisions. This was like maybe a close second though. I did a lot of redesigning of this to try and make it a little bit more intuitive. I also had made it a lot shorter. Oops, damn. I initially planned to have like a really, really long like boot camp level series of puzzles to navigate with this thing coming at you. And I decided it would probably be better to just cut it down to like 5 or 6 little jumping puzzles instead of making it too long. Nobody likes really, really long levels. And I can't seem to stop hitting into that wall. And it should be fairly obvious, but I color-coded the textures to show the path that the deadly platform floats on, so it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. You know, if you're standing in front of that, you're gonna get hit by it. That last jump is probably the hardest, I think. Although I can't say that I've failed that many times, and I do agree and admit that the platform doesn't work perfectly. There's more than several times I've seen that people have glitched right through it. And again, I just thought the concept was too cool not to do. I wish there was something I could do about it, but can't. It's a limitation of Meat Boy. There we go. Bonobo. Basic jumping, running. This one had sort of a hidden few themes going on through it. There's like an organic background, and then there's some Tetris over on the side, down here. And there is a shortcut, if you're pretty good at it. You can jump through it like that. But I definitely wanted to intersperse the chapter with a bunch of pretty straightforward types of levels. Otherwise, the uniqueness gets a little overwhelming. Ugh, really? So my goal is to hit into each one of these saw blades that I never hit before. Yikes. How am I losing this many times? This is not the hardest level. It's been mentioned a few times that the block patterns are a little bit boring in this, and I guess I agree with that. I could have done more with the foreground. Greenhouse, one of my favorites. This is another sort of concept-y level, and one that I definitely catered to speedrunning. I spent a lot of time designing these block patterns so you could just shoot through them pretty quickly. Oops. There's actually some ones that are designed for you to hit into the side of, and other ones that are designed to step on. And the trick, if you haven't played this, is that the traditional way you navigate this level is by floating across it slow like this. And you get to these blocks and you just have to break through them and try and catch up and all that. But as you're doing that, there's a key on a string on the other end that is slowly rising out of reach. And if you take too long, you can't get it. And that key is what unlocks the fast path back down at the bottom. Man, I am freaking rusty as hell. I used to be able to shoot through this, like, without even trying. Now I can't even get through it. Trying my best. I thought the background of this was pretty cool. Spent a while making these kind of cryptic looking, kind of morbid, I don't know if morbid, macabre I should say, sort of like dead thing patterns. I don't know why, but that just spoke to like a decayed kind of abandoned greenhouse to me. But this is another thing I can't say that I remember having seen anywhere else, like in the retail chapters or anything, using repulsor orbs to navigate a long corridor of saw blades. Again, I wish I put something in front of those saw blades. Okay, there we go. And that clears the path back. Ta-da! This was kind of a fun one, both to make and to play, I think. And there's a misplaced block down there, I didn't do that. So this is based on traversing a giant saw-filled snake. And you can see the snake's, the perspective is supposed to be that you can see like the back end of the snake over there with the skeleton. You can see it kind of rises up and off to the side of the screen. I'm not sure I did this very quickly. Oh, guess I did. Oh yeah, I actually eased up on the times to get through these at the end. And I ran out of color schemes. I was going to have the snake's eye be a different color and the tongue be a different color. But I had to work with what I had. Cargo. This level took a long time to set up properly, since it's all obviously waypoints. And when I started making it, I had a lot of difficulty setting up. Well, I should preface that by saying that the point of this box was supposed to be that you could jump off of the sides of it to avoid stuff. And there was an issue where the box was basically getting screwed up, like you would jump off the side of it and you would just glitch out of it and then just fall. And that happened constantly, so I had to rethink how I was supposed to approach this to still get a desirable and fun level. And what I ended up doing was just putting saw blades on everything so you couldn't glitch through the spots that were the problematic areas, which were just the joints basically where the multiple platforms met each other. And I tried just about everything because I didn't want to have to put more saw blades on this. I wanted the box to be your safety zone. But I came up with I guess a decent enough solution for what I had. The last, like the finale of the level was supposed to be that you had to jump back and forth across the two sides to avoid a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so that's that. Took a while to set up, and these waypoints were definitely not super easy to make either. There was a lot of like moving stuff off the side of the screen, and you'll notice the thrusters even stopped shooting. I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool. Hyper Sleep. This level was inspired by a great band called Between the Buried and Me. The cover of their most recent EP is completely what made me want to do this level. And I tweaked it so you can actually go over the top, although I screwed that up. The idea is supposed to be that you jump as few times as you can on all of these, and the second time you go under that saw blade, it's supposed to be pretty tricky since you obviously had to use up a couple of your footing blocks. But once you know that you can jump over the top, it kind of makes it a little easier. See? So you're supposed to be really careful when you're going under it to not really break too many of the blocks. But that's better. At first I didn't actually let that happen that way. I made it so you had to go under both times, but I thought this was a little bit more fun. And alas, our final level. This is another Speedrunner's Delight level. You'll see spent quite a while setting that up too. This is inspired loosely by the title screen to Mega Man 2. And when I first made this was supposed to be one of those goddamn log levels, like from Mario 2. You know, where the logs fall down a waterfall. And I had a couple friends beta testing, well, I wouldn't say beta testing, but testing these for me to see what they thought about them and giving me feedback before we got to the point where I was publishing them, so I wouldn't have to republish a lot. And they pretty much unilaterally told me that's a terrible idea, no one likes those damn waterfall levels, and I should delete that. And I did. Because I listen. And I respond. So that's the secret, you can stand up here. And this was actually supposed to be where the bandage was if I was going to put a bandage into this level, but we never actually got bandage support. And there's another block up there that's not supposed to be. There's freaking blocks everywhere. So you can stand right here on the edge and pretend you're on the, you know, the introduction to the chapter that does the aping of Mega Man 2. Whoa. Okay, that was totally not how that's supposed to go. Let's try this again. I'm doing the speedrun route. The normal route is obviously to use these platforms that are moving back and forth. Nope. Just slide off the top of that breakable block there. I had people ask me, like, what's the point of all these breakable blocks? And, like, I guess they didn't realize there's actually a path built into them. I had actually drawn up in MS Paint like all the different ways you could get through this level, just to have the paths available so I could see them. There we go. See, as long as you know the tricks, super easy. So that's the end of the Passenger. I hope you enjoyed that little look into it. And I guess we'll make a quick run of Fractal Worlds also and finish this up. If you haven't seen it on the Super Meat Boy forums, look for the Fractal Worlds thread. I wrote this ridiculously long, like complicated-ass explanation of what the story is to this chapter. I think it was entertaining. So the premise is that it's all a whole bunch of levels based on the concept of anti-gravity that was introduced in the Passenger, as you'll remember. I'm just going to zoom through them because I don't think it's worth spending too much time. I don't think people really like this chapter very much. It was maybe a little too weird. I thought it was fun, but I agree that it probably still could have used more work. I did kind of make it a little bit fast. And again, these levels mostly have tricks as far as how you're supposed to jump. Whoa. Okay. I just glitched through that. I didn't intend to do that, it just happened. I think Fraps lost some frames and I lost my ability to hit into things. These levels were mostly just me having fun with the art style. There wasn't really a lot of like backstory or thought into why each level looks the way it does. I was mostly just looking for stuff that was fun. I could go so far as to say that the fact that most of these levels look like they have a face on them, it's loosely supported by the story that I set forth in that thread. And each level is an element of Meat Boy's tortured eternal soul. But that might be stretching it. Okay, well the background patterns here are supposed to indicate that you hit the wall right at that intersection. And that should give you about enough friction off the wall to be able to stop yourself to hit one of those blocks and shoot back up the other side. Like most of my levels, I can't seem to beat them consistently. I really kind of fell in love with the whole kind of neon, blacklighty kind of look And I think as far as that goes, I think this chapter is pretty successful in having cool art. As far as it being fun, 50-50 on that. I think it was perhaps more unique than fun, which is kind of a bad compromise to make. I think it's probably should go the other way around, if anything. But I was experimenting with it. Come on now. Yeah, those videos that I have on my YouTube channel of me like beating all my levels, they took a few takes. I didn't get them on the first try. So now you're seeing me playing live, it's like, yeah, it's not so good. Damn. And this was supposed to give the illusion that the like barrel of glowing purple crap at the bottom was what was causing the anti-gravity. But if you notice on the very top middle, there's actually a repulsor sphere. They're actually a combination of two spheres, one that attracts and one that pushes. And the way I have it set up, the radius of each one sort of intercepts the other one, so after a certain point it pulls you, and after another point it pushes you. What do I do here? Oh yeah, I have to just float away from this and not touch the wall. I thought it was really cool though how I set it up, if you jump and then you stop holding jump, you immediately stop dead in the air, and you stay at that altitude. So there was a few instances when I thought that would make for a cool jumping puzzle. Such as this little corridor here where you can just kind of zoom right through it if you line it up right. And I tried to make it that these markings in the background actually do pertain to the ways you're supposed to approach the level most of the time. Okay. And as you get higher towards the top, the repulsor that pushes you away pushes harder. So it's another little quirk you have to know about to be able to beat these. This is the reincarnation of my creeper level. I think this is one of my least favorite of this chapter. I played with this concept of using two keys in one space a lot, and I did that also in the lime key, and it wasn't probably my favorite thing that I did. I mentioned before I made a pixel art level out of a creeper, and I just couldn't come up with a good concept to make the level around. So I think I still didn't really succeed too well on that, but whatever, it is what it is. It also makes a giant arrow. You have to do that to get back down, which is a little tough. Ta-da! Not much to say about this one. It's a test of your ability to navigate tight spaces while being floaty. Oops. It's like this whole chapter is mostly just about figuring out how to sort of learn the new rules of how the physics work. And I tried to set it up so they progressed in difficulty pretty evenly, but I don't know how successful I was. I had surprisingly little feedback about this chapter, so it's not too late if one of you guys sees this and thinks it looks cool. Go make a video, I want to hear more about it. I'm working on another chapter now, which is, I don't know if it's going to even be that fun. It's kind of gotten this Let It Rain flavor to it where it's all about saw blades again. As if there weren't enough saw blades on the screen right now. There we go. This one, if you're real good, you can scoot right through there like that, otherwise you have to go up the sides. And the last level. This is like the ultimate test of your ability to understand how the hell this physics system works now. In order to go down, you always need inertia built up from being up. So you actually have to set up, there's a series of 3 jumps here which establish your inertia. So you start left, you have to fall down into that gap, and then rebound back off of that, and that should give you enough inertia to fall. Or maybe I mean velocity. I'm sorry, I don't remember the difference because I'm not a physics person. And if you line it up perfectly, you'll shoot right down there. This level takes a really long time. Intentionally, because you can't die. So this is like a straight up just a puzzle, if you can figure out how to get through it. I admit though that this is a little bit frustrating, to line up. I mean, you can use the guide in the background for it, but it's not going to make your hand steady. There we go. Oh, damn it, still not. So you see what I mean, that the playability suffered as a result of the gimmick that is this chapter. Wow, this is like the longest I've ever taken to not land into that. Camera performance anxiety, I guess. Really? For the love of fuck, come on. Well, if you guys wanted to watch me get pissed off at my own levels, I guess you win there. So despite what it looks like there appears to be multiple paths through stuff, there's not. It's actually a completely linear level. Try as you might, you'll only be able to navigate it one way. And if you watch this, you will see what that one way is. So then that opened up another path. And you get to backtrack through here. And then you head up here, fall all the way down, follow this path, and then that opens that up. If you get enough momentum again. It's a little easier now that it's not a one block tile space, at least to start. And you have to not touch the walls for the most part either, until the last second if possible. So it's like a trampoline, you need to like build up more and more momentum. And when you're in this spot you can only go up. So then you cross through, and right here you now have the most space to build up the most momentum, and it shoots you right to the end. So that's Fractal Worlds. I hope you enjoyed watching. Leave me lots of comments, I want to hear what you guys think about these things, and make me videos, I want to watch you guys play my levels. So there will be more to come, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again guys, talk to you soon. Bye.